the way he angles his body, where he puts all of his body weight on his left hand and just extends just enough to just scrape the pylon. Those are the plays that decide Super Bowls. That's why every single time, I always talk about it, guys, at the beginning of the season, if the team is just good enough around Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. That isn't something that should just be done every week. No one in the history of football makes plays like this every week outside of Patrick Mahomes.
I want to thank all the talking heads and all the doubt. Yep. Keep it coming. Like, all it does is anytime you can give petty Mahomes the motivation.
All right, we had an issue with that, so I'm not sure how to cut it off because we were running two at the same time for some reason. I don't know how that even happened, but here we are, man. So.
All right, it is time, and we are live. We want to thank you guys all for being here. It is Chatting Up the Chiefs. I am your host, Lance Twidwell, here with my co-host, Trevor Twidwell.
What's
and
good?
The 9-year NFL veteran, Vaughn Booker. Vaughn, how the hell are you tonight, man?
I'm doing great, man. I got to tell you, a W's a W 2 weeks in a row. I'm happy to see that my book it pick last week, we did win the game, but we won by more than 3, so I'm happy with that.
We're happy with it as well, and we're going to break all that down. If you guys have not already done this, go ahead and go to Starcade Media, go to the Spoken Podcast on YouTube, and hit subscribe, hit the notification button, and get in the comments as fast as you can, because we're about to have some good discussions, guys, because there's a lot to unpack in this one. I promise you guys we're going to give you guys as much as our detailed initial reactions. The game just got over 5-10 minutes ago, so these are going to be very fresh things that we haven't even really chewed on yet, so we're going to chew on this together. So go ahead and get in those comments, guys. Let us know what your questions are. We'll get to the chats. Trevor will obviously be posting your guys' comments throughout the entire episode, and we're going to get to Vaughn as well, because he's going to give us the perspective of a player, a former player, and what he saw in this game. But let me just first and foremost start this. I nailed the score, guys. I said the Chiefs are going to win this game 27-20. That is exactly what took place. I said that this was going to be a game where the Chiefs started to show a little bit more fluidity in their offense, primarily at the wide receiver position, because I believe that it is fixable, as Trevor and I talked about in episode 237 of the Spoken Podcast this week, where I said that although the wide receiver room is something I still very much am concerned about, I do believe it is fixable. And Trevor, what did we say? What did I say, rather? That the Chiefs have to get the ball in the hands of these young receivers quick. Get the two-step drop, get the ball out, and let these guys work. And that is exactly what you saw Andy Reid do early in this game and often in this game. And that is why the offense started to have a little bit more fluidity and started having more confidence in the way they were going down the field. They had a balanced attack. Isaiah Pacheco did not have a great game according to the standard of what he set last week. But if you look at the way the Chiefs attacked, I mean, they had, over 20 rush attempts again this game. If you're just giving Patrick Mahomes 20 rush attempts to work with, that creates a balanced attack offensively, and it gives Patrick Mahomes enough time for him to keep the defense on the heels and create downfield, because we know that Patrick loves to take those deep shots. Even when sometimes they're not there, we know that he loves to try to take them and see what can happen, whether it's a penalty he might get away with like we saw with the MVS throw, or Justin Watson with that amazing catch that he had in the third quarter. Whatever the case may be, we know that Patrick Mahomes wants to be aggressive, and the only way that is going to be valid is if you have a running game that's going to help him with that. And we saw that again put on display today. But I really want to give the coaching staff first and foremost some credit here, because, like I said, you saw Justin Watson or Rashee Rice get 5 targets, had 4 catches for 33 yards and a touchdown. Justin Ross, who we've been begging to see get more targets, got 4 today with 2 catches of 28 yards. Kadarius Toney had 6 targets himself, 5 catches. And then Sky Moore got 2 targets. For whatever reason, we can speculate on what's going on with Sky Moore, but he's not getting enough involvement in the offense. I think, like Trevor was saying before the show, and I'll let him kind of cook on that a little bit. I want to take his thunder, but there is a rotation that the Chiefs are utilizing at wide receiver, because I think they still don't know what they have, and they have not facilitated or solidified, rather, what they know they have at wide receiver 1, 2, 3, and down the line. They're still figuring that out. But Sky Moore is not emerging like we all anticipated he would this season, and it is very frustrating to see. But all in all, the offense did enough, in my opinion, to get this W. There were times where I felt like the 3rd and 1, the 4th and 1 situations weren't as good as I'd like to see them at this point. They do not do the quarterback sneak, but I'm not going to crush them for not doing that, because we know that Patrick Mahomes did suffer an injury because of it. I know people say that's a fear that they need to let go of, but here's the thing. It has not cost the Chiefs to this point, because They haven't done the quarterback sneak with Patrick Mahomes under center since 2019. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the process. So I think they're doing okay without doing the quarterback sneak, and they can be creative enough under Andy Reid's tutelage to make things happen and convert on 3rd and short and 4th and short. I'd like to see that get better, but overall I think they did fine offensively. Defensively, guys, this is where I really want to start here, Book, because naturally I've been big on the defense this year. I know you're a defensive guy, a defensive-minded guy. I don't think the defense was bad at all today. I don't think they were bad, but they were not awesome today. We've seen them be awesome in this season, but we saw a lot of mental lapses. Trent McDuffie with an unnecessary 3rd and long penalty. L'Jarius Sneed with an unnecessary 3rd and long penalty. Or I think that was 4th down if I'm not mistaken. There was a lot of just errors we saw in this game. Now, that's going to happen. It's a long season. You're going to see that at times. But Justin Jefferson, this is where I'll give the defense credit, shut him down. Now, he did get hurt in the 4th quarter, and I will say that obviously played a huge detriment in the Vikings being able to move the ball. But even without Justin Jefferson, who only had 28 total yards in this game, by far his worst game of the season, maybe of his career, the Vikings, without him still on that 4th and 6, converted on the 4th and 6, and in a play later got a touchdown pass to Madison, their backup running back, who's now their starting running back. For me, I think that Spagnuolo drew up perfect blitzes. He timed them well. But outside of the blitzes and outside of Chris Jones, who we know is just one of all-time great Chiefs pass rushers, there was not a lot there. Spags wasn't getting out of his front four. George Karlaftis, FAU, Mike Dana until the very end were ghosts. And I felt that was very worrisome against a Vikings offensive line that has let Kirk Cousins get beat up over the last couple of years. So, Book, I want to throw it to you, man. From the defensive side of things, because I know they've set a new standard now, because this is, to me, is one of the 3 to 5 best defenses in the entire league. And again, they, to their credit, did their job at the end of it. They held their opponent to only 20 points, but you saw some mental errors, like I said. You saw some 3rd and longs, some 4th down conversions that I felt like they did not need to give up. What did you see overall from the defense today? Were you impressed, or do you think there were some things to be a little concerned about?
I don't think we have too much to be concerned about. I think overall they did play well. I think the fact that our secondary, the 2nd quarter was the weak link at that time, getting those penalties, 3rd and long, 4th and short, or whatever it was, prolonged the drive to go on. I think if we get off the field when we're supposed to get off the field and not have those errors, our defense still looks like it's been, looking all year. But I think that was just unfortunate in the 2nd quarter, having all those penalties in the secondary to keep their drive going. Overall, I think our defense looked good, though.
Trevor, what did you see from the defense? Because you and I were getting pretty frustrated from the defensive side a few times here and there, and you can expect perfection. But again, when you have to capitalize when Justin Jefferson is not effective and is not even in the game at all. And I felt like they had some missed opportunities there to really put the nail in the coffin against the Vikings team. And again, we will give them credit for what they did in the grand scheme, because Mike Dana put this bad boy on ice by getting that nice sack. I think that's 3.5 sacks now on the season for Dana.
He gets him in the best time.
He's having a career year, man. Yeah. And Chris Jones got a sack, 69 total in his career now. Nice. And he's doing his thing. But I think that we could see a little bit more from Karlaftis, who we have high hopes for. FAU, been a good player to this point of his career. He's shown glimpses. We need to see a little bit more before Omenhill gets here, because I think Omenhill is going to open some things up.
One more week,
but we need to see the development from these younger guys. What did you see today, Trevor? Anything else you saw?
Listen, man, at the end of the day, we allowed one of the better offenses in this league, an underperforming team, if you will. I think this team is better than what their record is still. Talent-wise on offense, one of the better offenses in the league, to 20 points. This team continues to scoreboard-wise show up every single week. And we've played some of the best offense in the league already. And early on, I was very frustrated with the defense early on. I mean, we weren't giving it up a lot, but we had a lot of just numbskull penalties. Though the L'Jarius Sneed one was just, that one pissed me off the most, because he just blatantly did it with the referee right there. You're going to get a penalty. It felt intentional. You just grab it, you go after the man's face. Like, just don't do that, man. You got to be able to keep your head in the game, control yourself. I know it's getting chippy and heated out there. This team is, fighting for everything. This team has everything, they're fighting for, because they need a win bad, right? And they're going to do everything they can to get under your skin. You just got to control yourself and, pretend you've been there before. Outside of the early penalties in the game, we definitely corrected a lot of that later on in the game. But then, later on in the game, we started giving up. Even when Justin Jefferson wasn't on the field, and they were converting 3rd and long. For some reason, we have trouble on offense converting 3rd and shorts, and we have trouble on defense stopping 3rd and longs. It's an annoying thing. We're so good on both sides of the ball, but we struggle with the things that most teams don't. Most teams don't convert third and longs like that when in those kind of situations. That's a very tough scenario. We tend to allow it more than most. So that's frustrating. But I loved what I saw to Chris Jones. Chris Jones was involved every single play. George Kalafdis does need to be better. Mike Dana is incredible. He's having a career year. I mean, contract year is undefeated. We love what we've seen out of him. Chenal was out there running around like a madman, and my guy Trent McDuffie was all over the place. Those two hits he put on Cousins on those corner blitzes, man, he got there in a flash. He had no chance. Luckily, though, the running back Madison dropped that ball when Trent on that corner blitz, because that could have been a touchdown.
They could have walked in the end zone, man.
Yeah, and that was a great heads up play by Kirk Cousins to get that ball out and put it right in his hands. He just wasn't ready for it, luckily. But overall, defensively, man, I mean, this unit is so good. Our secondary is so good. I want to see more consistent pressures from our front four, though. We're not getting there enough in my mind. And that offensive line is not very good. We were getting stonewalled by the Jets offensive line last week. I need to see more consistent pressures from our front without having to bring extra blitzes and corner blitzes. I don't think we shouldn't have to do that. It's fun when we do because they work, and McDuffie is as good as he is, and L'Jarius Sneed is as good as he is getting there. The corner blitzes, they're fun to watch. But we don't need it. We shouldn't have to rely on that to get pressures.
Well, and I do like the fact that we're starting to see Leo Chenal get involved in the pass rush.
He's a monster.
Got himself a sack. He's one of my breakout players this year. Yeah. And the guy that set the tone at the beginning of the game, if I'm not mistaken, was Brian Cook forcing that fumble. Yeah. The first offensive play for the Vikings. That's something you want to see is setting the tone, setting your offense up for success first and foremost. That is a big play. Yeah. Could have been the difference in this game because the Vikings didn't get a chance to try to score first.
And that diving effort by L'Jarius Sneed to break at that play, which was going to be a catch. That was an incredible play.
Now, Book, I want to get your thoughts on this because we know that what we're going to hear all week long. The refs bailed out the Chiefs yet again. We saw the play on the final drive of the final drive of the offense, for the Vikings offense rather. The deep throw from Kirk Cousins. He was getting pressured in the pocket, got hit, threw the ball away in the back of the end zone, was not catchable. I believe it was to Addison, if I'm not mistaken, Trevor.
Correct, because Kirk got hit in the arm while throwing it.
And L'Jarius Sneed was guarding Addison. And they threw a flag initially, trying to say it was pass interference. They picked the flag up, but what people weren't upset about that because it wasn't a catchable pass. People were upset about L'Jarius Sneed taking his helmet off to talk to the refs. The refs told him to put his helmet back on. Why people were so upset is they said they should have gotten a flag there. But what doesn't change is the fact that it's still a change of possession. That's probably why they didn't throw the flag on him. Now, it could have taken the offense back for the Chiefs, but there was a change of possession. So I don't think they looked at it as hostile of a situation when guys take their helmets off on a second or third down play. What did you see from that? Have you ever had a situation like that when you're on the field, and how did it go? Or do you agree with how the officiating went in that situation?
I agree on how it went. They could have threw the flag. Like you said, it still would have been a Chiefs ball regardless, just backed up a little bit more. But it's unfortunate that he took his helmet off. He's one of our top players. He's our captain in the secondary, so he has to play smarter. He has to be a leader and lead by example. Those small things like that can cost you on down the line. I understand when fans are upset, thinking that we always get the call from the refs, but that's just part of football. The fact that the ref actually told him to put the helmet on, that didn't look too good. But it still would have been a Chiefs ball, just backed up a little bit more. He just got to play smarter.
Well, and Book, I want to get your thoughts on this as well, because on the other side, I want to transition to the offensive side of things here. But talking about officiating and how we're hearing folks say that the Chiefs are getting favorable calls, or they're getting bailed out in these games. I mean, I have to really push back on this, man, because everyone talks about how Patrick Mahomes is this golden child now of the NFL. But if you look at it from last season, we saw Patrick Mahomes getting roughed up a lot throughout the season. Yeah. He got 2 roughing the passer penalties all of last season through 20 games. This season, he's been getting roughed up. Guys are diving at his knees. Even tonight, we saw several times defensive players were, falling at his legs. Not one single penalty. And for me, man, I'm not even looking for them to throw flags. But my thing is, if we're going to hear people bitching about the Chiefs getting bailed out, let's start really looking at the receipts here. Let's start looking at some of these plays. Because in my opinion, I don't know, I want to get your opinion on this. Some of these plays look a little cheap. Some of these plays look like these guys are starting to, accidentally fall at Patrick's leg. And it's starting to piss me off, man. What are you seeing?
I'm saying the same thing you're saying. And that's crazy. I think that's why we don't really bitch too much when they so-called say we get the defensive call, when we're on defense. But he has been attacked a lot. People have been going at his legs and hitting him late and just trying to get him frustrated or trying to get him lamed enough to get off the field for a second. But it's crazy how this league is this year. I mean, everybody is coming for us. Everybody look at us as their Super Bowl, so they're going to try any and everything when they play against us.
Now let's look at the Chiefs. They had 21 first downs. They were 9 of 15 from third down, which is good. They didn't go for it on fourth down at all. They had 333 total yards. Patrick Mahomes was incredible. He had 31 of 41. He was 31 of 41 with 281 yards, 2 touchdowns with a 110 quarterback rating. Isaiah Pacheco didn't have as great of a game, but he still, again, he brought the balance to the equation. 16 rushes for 55 yards, got another touchdown. This guy is still on pace to have over 1,000 yards this season. I'm loving what they're getting out of Isaiah Pacheco. I know what they're doing with Jarek. I was hoping that Jarek would get a touchdown because of his history of being drafted by the Vikings. I was hoping he'd get a little bit of a bone today, but it just didn't work out that way. But I do know what they're trying to do with Jarek and what they're ultimately going to do. They're going to ease him into the season, being a 31-year-old undersized running back. He's a pivotal piece to this offense because, as I tweeted out during the game, this offense is at its best when Jerick McKinnon is involved, and you saw that even tonight when he was getting opportunities, the little that he did, things just seemed to open up. But let's talk about something here that I think that everybody wants to talk about. I think the Chiefs dodged a massive bullet today with their number one receiving option and Travis Kelce going down on a non-contact injury. I won't lie to you, Book. I won't lie to you, Trev. When I saw this play, I was scared to death. I got sick to my stomach immediately because for multiple reasons. One, Travis Kelce's been an Iron Man. For a decade, the man didn't miss a single game to injury. Misses week 1 out the gate this season to a knee injury. And then he has this and he goes out and he looks like he's really hurt. Everyone's speculating, oh my God, it's a knee. Oh my God, it's his ACL, it's his Achilles. All the people like to play doctor on Twitter or on the internet, period. And I found this one doctor that kept watching the replay and he says, guys, he twisted his ankle. So it could have been way worse because obviously you saw Travis Kelce walk out on his own power, run out on his own power, walk to the locker room on his own power, come back on the field on the sidelines, so ready to play that the coaches had to call him back multiple times because they weren't ready to put him back in the game. And then you saw what he did, man. He just took off. Patrick Mahomes was feeding him the ball. I think he ended up catching 8 passes in the second half. Ended up getting a touchdown. That's the 49th touchdown between Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, as I like to call him, the goat-to-goat connection, because they are the two best at what these two guys are the greatest at what they've ever done. They're doing it together. It's phenomenal. It still lives. I think this could have been that the Chiefs could have really had a problem on their hands, Book. What did you see from this one, man? What did you think initially when you saw Travis go down?
Man, I threw up in my mouth a little bit. I was scared to death. I asked my girl. I was like, oh my God, what has just happened here? But to see him come back out in the second half and moving pretty good on the sideline, I felt good. I felt real good. I knew he was going to put himself back out there. I know he has that competitive spirit that if he can be out there, he will be out there. And that's what we expect in Travis and Patrick Mahomes. So he makes our offense a lot better. Him not being out there, everybody's game has to tremendously go up, which I thought the offense did when he wasn't on the field. I thought they still had a pretty good series. I think that's when Watson caught that ball. They sent a blitz. Nobody picked up. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you got 2 free defenders coming at your quarterback. He just tosses it up, and Watson goes up and get it. I thought that was a great offensive series for us without Travis being on the field. But knowing that Travis was okay, knowing that he was going to come back, I felt pretty good that we were going to start clicking again. And I'm glad Travis got his catches and his touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, and then to add to that, I mean, not only did we have a good drive, we finished that drive with a touchdown without Travis Kelce going to Rashee Rice, which that new connection, Lance, you like to call, what is it? What is the connection between Rashee Rice and Patrick Mahomes?
So check this out. I want to throw this by Book real quick and see if he likes it. So I'm pretty good with nicknames, and it just came to me as soon as the touchdown happened. I think this new duo between Rashee and Patrick Mahomes should be called Rice Patty. What do you think?
Oh, my God.
Book's going to block me on Twitter now. He's like, I can't deal with this dude.
That's the new duo. People are going to start getting shredded by Rice Patty.
I don't see that on the T-shirt.
Listen, man, I'm going to say this, though. I think, look, I'm a big Kadarius Toney guy, but it seems like he's the package player at this point, if I'm being honest right now. I think Rashee Rice is looking like the wide receiver 1. Pat looks confident throwing him the ball. I mean, this kid should have 4 touchdowns on the year. You know what I mean? He was short 2 straight weeks. The last 2 weeks he was short on the 1 yard line with a similar play up the seam. A similar play that he should have scored on 2 different times these past 2 games. He should have scored for 4 out of our 5 games, or he should have 4 touchdowns on the year, just to say the least. So, I mean, this kid is getting those opportunities. They're looking to him in those big moments. I love what I've seen out of him. But as far as back to Kelce, man, I mean, you couldn't ask for more of a leader on the offense. Knowing that his team needs him. A lot of guys would have sat out and not returned. Was trying to run on the field, and the coaching staff kept pulling him back and pulling him back. He was trying to get in on that drive, regardless of what anybody told him. I'm just glad he's okay, first and foremost. I mean, it's been a rough start of the year for him, with the knee and now the ankle. Most likely it's a low or a high sprain. Hopefully it's a low sprain, just a foot sprain. But for him to go in there that next drive and then finish it with a touchdown, it's just incredible, man. That guy that connection between those two and the way that play broke down, Pat scrambling around, running up the middle, almost crossed the line of scrimmage and sidearmed it to Kelce because Kelce came back to the middle. It was just, that's just what they have is special, man. And I really hope we're smelling these roses because these days are numbered, unfortunately. And yeah, this offense still has a lot of work to do, though. If I'm being honest, there's a lot of rotating bodies, and it's hard to find any kind of consistency and get a grasp on what we're actually doing. We're not taking what the defense has given us enough. I don't believe they were blitzing us all night long, and we were still trying to chuck the ball downfield. Give me some quick slants. We get the ball out quick. Like, what are we doing? We got Kadarius Toney. You got Rashee Rice. You got Justin Ross that was out there making some. He had a couple drops, but you get the ball in these playmakers' hands. Let them create. I mean, that's what we did with Tyreek. When that was the best blitz beater in the world, was having Tyreek just get the ball out quick to him.
Well, and to that point, now you're right, because to that point, and there's got to be a growth and development for all these players. And if you're putting out a rotation of receivers, you have to allow Justin Ross to grow through things like that. He did have a couple
I like that
drops,
he had more snaps tonight.
But the fact, yes, exactly. He got more snaps in this game
He had a couple
than
bad
he had
drops,
pretty much the previous 4 games. So he's getting his opportunities, and I think that this is going to only benefit the offense. Because you saw, like he did, that high point on the first target he got. That high. Nobody on this offense outside of Travis Kelce is going to make that play.
He's 6'4",
it's
man.
him. Yeah, exactly. So he's that next big body. I don't know if he's a guy that they can trust long term as far as a wide receiver 1 or a wide receiver 2. But if this guy can step in and make plays here and there, I like the fact that Andy had a willingness today to trust even more of the young guys to make some big plays. Because let's be honest, guys, MVS quit on a route that could have been a touchdown today. Justin Watson, although he'll make a play here and there, he's not a guy that you're going to target 11, 12 times a game. So you have to find who your next star could be. Because it could be one of these guys or it could be none of these guys. All we do know is that we don't know.
I think we know who the new most reliable star in this offense is, and I think it's Rashee Rice.
And maybe it is, but like I said, I like the fact that Andy opened it up today. He allowed these guys to get themselves an opportunity to cut their teeth a little bit. And although this was a frustrating game again, because like I said, I think the Chiefs left some meat on the bone. The defense didn't have their best game. If we're sitting here talking about the Chiefs not having their best game defensively and they held their opponent to 20 points on the road, yeah, we're good with that. And by the way, Book, I don't know if you saw the stat. I post it every time it happens. But the Chiefs are now 59-4, postseason included, when they hold their opponent to less than 27 points with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. In other words, you're going to win 99% of the time with Patrick Mahomes if your defense just keeps your opponent under 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals. Basically 5 scoring drives. Is that not insane or what, man?
That's crazy. You always want a defense that can do something like that.
59-4, man.
That's going to go a long way throughout a long football season. So if we can continue to do that, knowing that we have the quarterback that we have, I don't see us not having a great chance of repeat.
Yep. Got to get these wide receivers acclimated. Got to get them confident. Keep Travis Kelce healthy, for God's sakes, and keep this defense rolling the way they're rolling, man. This is the best. In my opinion, through 5 weeks, the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. I think the Dolphins have an electric offense. I think the Bills could be a complete team, but they are so hobbled with injuries. It's not even. It's actually sad.
Ugly loss today by the Bills.
Yeah, and the Bengals are not. No disrespect to your Bengals, Book. I know you played there in there. You love those guys.
No.
But they're depleted too in a lot of ways. They had a big win against the Cardinals. But I think that this team is really behind right now. If they can get T. Higgins back, maybe so, because they're so talented. I had the Bengals as a playoff team this year. They've been the Chiefs' only real rival in the AFC over the last couple of years. Right. But if you look at the AFC landscape right now, I know it's still early, it's the Chiefs to lose again, man. I mean, do you agree with that, Book?
I definitely agree. First, let me clarify that the Bengals are not my team. I only have one team. and it's the Chiefs. So I agree with that totally. I think that we just have everything we need to get back to where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? I think I was happy to see Willie Gay back, and at the linebacker position. He made some great plays for us.
Yep.
That speed showed up really well for us. So I think it's going to be ours to lose. I think when it comes playoff time, as long as we're healthy, it's going to be ours to lose.
Yeah, and how about the fact that, just a real quick note, and we'll get to the chat here. How about Mike Edwards? Can we give some flowers to our guy Mike Edwards, the safety the Chiefs picked up from the Buccaneers this offseason? They got him on a 1-year, $3 million deal. That dude has already lived up to that contract. I mean, he is out there wrecking shop, man. He's out there getting interceptions. He's out there breaking up passes. He's up there wrecking dudes in the middle of the field. He's making plays. And I think that that's one of Brett Veach's best acquisitions this year. I think Drew Tranquil is showing why this guy was worth every penny. He got a 1-year, $5 million deal. I mean, Veach absolutely cooked with those two signings. And you're right, man. Willie Gay out there in the middle of the field making big tackles, big plays. I think the Chiefs have the best linebacker room in the AFC. I think they rival with the 49ers. I think the 49ers probably have the best overall linebacker room.
Our talent, pound for pound, everywhere.
It's stupid.
And our entire defense is lines up with anybody.
It does,
I don't
man.
care.
It really does.
And they're so young and fast and aggressive and making open field tackles. Everybody looks improved this year.
Just gotta get that pass rush going more often, man. Maybe Book can throw a couple plays in there for him. Maybe suit up and just sneak on there. What do you say, Vaughn?
Not even on Xbox.
Coming out of retirement? No.
I can't even do it on Xbox, buddy.
I'll buy you a box of Stogies if you do it just for one game. How about that?
Okay.
Cubans too, by the way.
Hey, how about the offensive line though? I had some questions about the offensive line as far as how are we feeling about the consistency of them. As far as them going toe-to-toe with the blitzes, because we got blitzed a lot tonight. I get it. And Pat was under pressure a lot tonight. Granted, probably more than we should have been because we were trying to let plays develop downfield and we should have just making more quick strikes. But I thought our tackles played a lot better tonight. But I'm trying to just kind of get a grasp on how we feel about this offensive line as far as the consistency goes.
What did I predict? I said that Juwan Taylor was not going to have a penalty. He was going to have a clean game, and he was clean tonight.
Yeah, and he was doing his normal where he lines up.
And that's funny how that works. All of a sudden, the NFL decided, let's give Juwan a break. Let's go ahead and just not pick on him.
Now
for
it's
a
not a
week.
penalty. Okay. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he has a clean game. He looks amazing. He looks like he was worth $80 million.
It's so weird,
I had one concern about Donovan Smith. There was one play that Patrick got sacked on, and it looked like Donovan Smith. I don't ever want to say a professional player quits on a play because I feel like that can be a little disrespectful. But it didn't look like Donovan gave full-fledged effort. It was very early in the game. I think it was the second or third drive.
I know what you're talking about.
And he just got blown right by, and it just looked like he looked confused, or I don't know what had happened. All I do is
tired, bro. They're getting their asses blitzed all night.
Yeah, and let's be real, Vaughn. I know you played on turf back in your day. I know there was times you played on turf fields. I mean, you saw it, man. It was causing some real problems for both teams, man. Did you see the same thing?
Yeah, I saw the same thing, and I'm surprised that they still even play on that type of field. And it causes too many injuries. You know what I'm saying? The thing with Travis, that could be attributed to the field. You know what I'm saying? Thing with Jeffries, that could be attributed to the field. So I think we just got to get away from that type of field and go all natural and think about these players while they're playing and after their career is over.
Yeah, I mean, the two most important receiving options on the field by far, two of the most marketable players in the league by far, Travis Kelce and Justin Jefferson. They're on every other commercial. When Travis isn't on one, Justin's on the other. You know what I mean? Like all the Madden commercials, all the State Farm commercials. Yep. You got these dudes both suffering leg injuries today, man. Now, Justin's looks like it might be a little bit worse because it was a hamstring, and that might prolong.
The fact that he couldn't return at all.
Yeah, Travis came back and fought through it, and I think he's going to be fine. Again, bullet dodged here. But these are real problems the NFL has to address, man. This is why we sit here and talk about the brotherly shove, the tush push, while we talk about these other minuscule things. They got a real problem on their hands, man, with guys having non-contact injuries. We just saw Tre'Davious White. We saw C.J. Gardner-Johnson before the season even kicked off. We saw Mike Williams a couple weeks ago. These guys are suffering non-contact injuries, and this is lessening the quality of the game because these are star players that we're losing here. Not that it's any less than another player gets hurt, but when you're losing notable figures in your league, that's a real problem. Because people, the casual fan who you're trying to attract, are coming to see Travis Kelce, are coming to see Justin Jefferson. That's a problem, man. And so, yeah, I think they definitely need to. I agree with you 100%, Book. They need to work on this. I know they want to save money and they worry about the concerts and how the concerts can wreck up the fields and stuff, and that turf is a little more durable. Guys, what is your actual moneymaker? These players that are out here putting out the product, or having Kenny Chesney play a concert once a year? I think it's going to be the players in the long run. Trevor, let's get to the chat.
All right, man. So we got it's a lot of different comments going back and forth. There's some people that are obviously enjoying the rice patty. We got a J. Michael Smith on Facebook saying rice patty, hell yeah. We got our guy John Harrison, though. I want to give him some shine here. Give him a moment. That play by Watson was the play of the game. It was crucial to keep that drive going. Big time catch for sure. And Pat was fading away. It was a little underthrown. Could have been a pick. It was a 50-50 ball, and he took it from the defender. I have to agree, man. That was a massive catch. I don't know how you guys feel about that catch. That was the only real play of from Watson that day too, and it was maybe the most important one.
Look, Book, I'll tell you, because I don't know if I've ever gone into detail about Justin Watson, because I keep it at a minimum when it comes to my opinion, because I don't want to sound like an overly negative guy, but I thought that he's been getting praise that maybe he doesn't deserve enough, because we're saying he's the wide receiver one because he makes a big player here and there. But what I'm seeing is a guy that goes up there and is not afraid to go and take a hit, and he goes up there and gets the ball. And Justin Watson's doing that. And I'm never going to knock a guy for maybe he only is a one catch for 50-yard kind of guy for the team. But those 50 yards paid serious dividends for the Chiefs tonight. And so I'm giving him all the credit in the world for what he did tonight. Justin Watson, it may be a small role. And baseball equivalents, it's like the guy that in the 8th or 9th inning that, is a pinch runner and steals second base and ends up being the scoring run. That's kind of what Justin Watson is becoming for this team, and you always want a guy like that on the team, man. What did you see, Book?
I think when Justin's Travis out of the game, he tries to make up that gap. You know what I'm saying? He knows he's not quite Travis Kelce, but he don't want to be the guy that's going to mess up now that he's going to be looked upon in that position especially. So when he gets those opportunities, he's going to take full advantage of it. He's going to go and lay out and go up and extend further and do these type of things. He don't want to be so far a drop-off from when Travis is out of the game for our offense. And I think he's doing a great job when he gets those opportunities.
Yep. We got J. Michael Smith saying holding Jefferson to 28 yards is unheard of. We need to reiterate on that a little bit too. I mean, that arguably is his worst game of his career. I understand he missed some of the last few minutes of the game due to that hamstring, but we were holding that dude out of the game the entire time, and that is arguably the best receiver in the game. And that connection between him and Cousins goes off every week. The dude is averaging well over 100 yards a game. We held him to 28, bro. Let's just look at his season real quick. Justin Jefferson,
right. Week 1 against Tampa Bay had 9 receptions, 12 total targets for 150 yards. Next week had 13 targets, 11 receptions, 159 yards. Third week against the Chargers, 13 targets, 7 receptions, 149 yards, and a touchdown. Last week against the Carolina Panthers, he had 9 targets, 6 receptions for 85 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This week, only 6 targets for 3 receptions, 28 yards, 0 touchdowns.
That's bananas, dude.
If y'all don't believe in this secondary by now, I don't know what to tell you. I posted it, Trevor, 24 hours ago. 24 hours ago on my Twitter account, I put out there the Chiefs defense versus wide receiver ones this year. They have not given up a big game to a single big-time wide receiver, and people are like, well, they haven't seen JJ yet. And you know what? They're right. I posted it also. I was like, well, what's gonna be a modest game against JJ? And everybody said, well, if they can keep him to 75 yards and a touchdown. And that's honestly a good number. Man, they let him have less than a fourth or about a fourth of that. Yeah. No touchdown either. Man, that is, yes, he was not on that final drive. I understand that completely, but to keep him out of the end zone, to keep him under 30 yards, I mean, that ain't a game ball worthy kind of performance from this secondary, I don't know what is, Book. I mean, that was an absolute lockdown. Do you agree?
Definitely. I love our secondary, other than the fact that they had those penalties today that prolonged the drive, like I said earlier. Other than that, I'll put our secondary up against anybody's 1 and 2 receivers on whoever we play this year. Snead can match up with almost anybody in the league. And McDuffie showed that he's coming around and being more aggressive back there. So collectively, I like our secondary. I think they're probably one of the top 3 in the NFL.
Got anything else going on in the chat, Trev?
There's one last comment here from our guy John Harrison. As far as the chat, because the story of the night is always going to be about the refs helping the Chiefs somehow, as if there's not a bunch of other games going on where there's bad calls and good calls that go in favor or not in favor of other teams. But let's talk about the Chiefs getting some kind of calls. Yeah, John Harrison says also if the refs were trying to help the Chiefs, they would not have called 6 penalties for 67 in the first half. We were at a massive disadvantage where we had 6 penalties in the first half. We had what? It was 6 on one drive. 6 penalties on one drive. Bro. If the refs were trying to help us, that's a strange way to help somebody, bro.
And here's the thing, Book. You know the trenches better than anybody when it comes to offensive line versus defensive linemen. I mean, how many times did you see Chris Jones, Mike Dana, Derek Nottie, Turk Wharton, George Karlaftis getting held? I mean, there was a portion where Chris Jones was literally getting tackled by the guards, and they weren't throwing flags. Right. So if you want to sit here and tell me they're trying to help the Chiefs when Chris Jones is if that was in any other context, that would be assault and battery, and there was no flags. Right. So help me out, please. Tell the people, Book, from your experience. You played in the league for 9 years. Tell these people.
Well, as far as being held, we get held every play. The first thing they want to do is grab jersey, and if we're not twisting or simply pulling away from those guys, it's not going to get called most of the time. And when it comes to Chris Jones, you know what he can do to you. They're going to double team you, and both of those guys are holding him at the same time, and you're still not calling it. It's just part of the game. You got to get used to. The offensive lineman, they're going to do it. If you can get away with it, they're going to keep doing it until it's getting called consistently. That's what you can expect.
Well, the Chiefs sit at 4-1, beat the Vikings 27-20. Like I said, absolutely nailed that pick. I'm not right all the time. When I am, boy, is it right. I'm telling you, I enjoyed that very greatly. The Chiefs are 4-1, top of the AFC West, top of the AFC as a whole. This team does have some growing to get or some growing pains they're going to go through, but man, I will take 4-1 all day long, knowing that this team is very much on the rise. I think they can only get better from here. I saw some more fluidity from the wide receiver room. I saw more trust from Patrick Mahomes throwing to these guys in the intermediate passes, downfield. I like what I saw from the offense as a whole tonight. Like I said, there's still some growing pains. Defense didn't have an awesome game, but again, if they can hold an opponent to 20 points and shut down the best receiver in the game, I'm going to take that less than awesome performance every day of the week, guys. And by the way, the Chiefs have a streak going on, Book, that I don't know if you know about, but this defense under Steve Spagnuolo, because this man's in his bag, they have not allowed a 30-point game to their opposition since week 4 of last season.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Think about that. In a league
incredible.
Of scoring, with quarterbacks after quarterback after quarterback in this league that's pass-happy, high-scoring games, the Chiefs have not allowed in the regular season, they have not allowed a 30-point game since Week 4 against the Buccaneers, and that was garbage time points because the Chiefs were whooping that ass in that game, dude. And you saw in the Super Bowl, the Eagles put up 35. So since Week 4, the Chiefs allowed 30 points in a game once, and it happened to be in the Super Bowl against a prestigious offense in the Eagles. I think that's more than worthy of a nice little hand clap here real quick from Steve Spagnuolo, because this defense is clicking on all cylinders, and I think this defense is only going to get better because, like I said, in a little over a week's time, they're going to be getting Charles Omenihu, and that's going to open up a lot of things, take a lot of pressure off Chris Jones, and I'm really excited about the potential of that.
We got the good old Broncos twice coming up soon. So
3 straight divisional games. They got the Broncos, Chargers, Broncos. Really excited about that. Chiefs have a short week, though. Luckily, they weren't too banged up tonight. They did survive overall. They have a short window. But before we get to the Broncos game, Trev, we have to do something that ends every show. It's called Book It with Book. We got to get a prediction from our guy Vaughn Booker. So without further ado, it's Book It with Book.
Hey, this is Vaughn Big Book Booker, and Book It with Book this week coming up Thursday against the Denver Broncos. I got the Kansas City Chiefs once again winning by 17.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's time to spread some points out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's time to really bring this thing together against a team that we know we're better than. Let's not play down to their caliber and start, having penalties, unnecessary calls happening for us. Let's go out there and do what we're supposed to do. And
3-score game.
It's really the beginning of our second quarter of the football season. Let's do it right. 17 points.
3-score game.
Yeah, let's welcome Sean Payton to the division, yeah? Let's do that.
Right.
That's Book It with Book right there, if I've ever heard one. How about this? That happens. That happens. We have to smoke cigars on the show.
Got to.
Book you down.
I've been waiting, man. My cigar right there.
Let's mark that down. You know what? Even if it isn't a 17-point victory, if they just get the dub, which we're expecting here, let's get cigars, man, because that'll be 5-1. Chiefs will be sitting comfortably in the AFC West. Let's just go ahead and take one back, man, and enjoy that one. I think that's a good idea. I think the viewing and listening audience would agree with that. So let's just go ahead and book that as well. Okay, that'll be your prediction. 17-point victory. The homie smokes 3 stogies at the same time. Does that sound good to you, Book?
Sounds great to me, partner.
Book it. All right. Well, guys, this has been an absolute blast. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This is what we do every single week. We do a post-game here, chatting up the Chiefs with your host, Lance Twidwell, Trevor Twidwell, and the great 9-year NFL veteran, Vaughn Booker. We do this every single week after every single Chiefs game. If you guys want to get the predictions that Trevor and I will have for the next game coming up, then follow us on Saturdays, every Saturday at 10 a.m. for the foreseeable future. We will do live streams as well, just like this on Starcade Media, under the Starcade Media umbrella, and we'll give you guys everything that we have coming up for that next week. But until next time, when we're here with the great Book, and we know another Book It with Booker, and we're sitting here smoking stogies, enjoying a good old time, I'm Lance Twidwell, that's Trevor Twidwell, and that's Vaughn Big Book Booker. We out of here. Enjoy your guys' weekend.
Yeah. There you go.